All right, what's up, everybody? Just want to let you guys know before this episode gets started that I actually recorded this episode earlier in the week on the Wednesday morning of the free agency period for the NFL. So there might be some things in it that have already happened. So don't get all bent out of shape about, oh well, that already happened, or this guy already went there, this guy already went there. I had some computer issues. I couldn't get it uploaded on the Wednesday afternoon after I recorded it and stuff. So yeah, just letting you guys know about that beforehand, and enjoy. What up, everybody? Thanks for checking into the Brown Mamba podcast. For those of you who don't know, my name is Jackson. And also, for those of you who don't know, free agency has officially been underway. I mean, technically, it's been underway for a little bit with teams allowed to franchise some of their players. But, it's officially free agency season. Some players have already gone, but there's a lot of good free agents out there. And in this episode, I'm gonna be going over who I think the Oakland Raiders and the LA Rams should go after. And who other players I can think can help better their team. So I'm gonna start off with the Raiders because I think that they don't really need too much. They'd had a good thing going last year, so you don't want to, tweak with things too much. But then I'm going to finish up with the Rams because, I mean, they definitely have a lot of things that they need to address. And I think there's a lot of, pretty good free agents out there that they can go after that can definitely help them out. Oh, and if you're wondering why I'm not doing the Chargers, because it's LA, I do a lot of LA sports. Chargers, I don't care what you say. I'm not going to care about them. I don't care if they're in LA. That's the Raider fan in me. Sorry. All right, so like I said, starting off with the Raiders, you know, like I said, you don't want to tweak with what they had too much. You don't want to start bringing in big guys, big names, or anything like that. Obviously, people have been talking about, you know, potentially Adrian Peterson coming to the Raiders. They asked Adrian Peterson himself about it. He said it'd be interesting. Derek Carr said, "Hey, it'd be great to have him on the team." But I mean, what are they? What else are they? What are they supposed to say? You know what I mean? So, um, and like I mentioned in I mentioned in the podcast last week. It's not that I wouldn't mind having AP. I mean, he's definitely, um, I believe like on the decline, the beginning of the decline of his physical, peak physicality and stuff, especially with all the injuries. But a guy like him would be great to definitely, bring some experience, some knowledge as a veteran. To the two young guys, and DeAndre Washington and Jalen Richard, especially like I say with the possibility of Latavius Murray being signed to someone else in free agency. Some a veteran running back, as long as something like that. Maybe also more like a bruiser type like Latavius Murray was supposed to be. DeAndre Washington and Jalen Richard are both kind of elusive guys, and you kind of want that guy who's going to be able to get you the 3 yards when you need it. A guy like AP would be good. Even a guy like even if he becomes available. The Garrett Blunt might even work. He's shown that when you need 5 yards, he can give you 5 yards. But like I said, not anyone else too crazy. I'm kind of going through the other guys right now just to make sure I don't miss anybody else. Maybe a guy like Tim Hightower. Who knows? Like I said, running backs are essentially starting to turn into like point guards in the NBA. You can kind of find them anywhere, and they've become not expendable is the wrong word, but they're kind of essentially a dime a dozen. You can find them anywhere and pick them up whenever you need them. So just some insurance would be great. Another thing, speaking of insurance, they could really have used a backup quarterback last year. So they can go out and find some guys. There's a lot of the guys that are available right now are a little bit older, past their prime. So I mean, they'd be good, I guess, experience wise and stuff like that. Guys like Matt Schaub, Ryan Mallett, Orlovsky, Yates. I mean, those kind of guys, like, you don't really want, not that you don't want them on their team, but like they're just that veteran guy that you'd maybe have, holding the clipboard, helping stuff out, almost like an extra coach out there. But two guys who I think, potentially might come in, even though one was already here, maybe Barkley or Sanchez. I mean, I know they haven't proven themselves to be, the best or anything, but they're definitely, I think they would have given a little bit of a better fighting chance than, McGloin did, and So yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm looking at it right now. There's not too many that stand out. Like, hey, that'd be a great guy to get. So who knows? Maybe even, maybe even Tony Romo. Who knows? um, but then also, I would have thought before the season, I was thinking, thinking ahead, saying they really need to address the tight end position. But with the emergence of Clive Walford, um, it's not as much of a glaring need, as I would have thought of beforehand. However, just like anything, some insurance would be really great. There's a potential for Michael Rivera to leave. He's a free agent as well, so he might leave, chase some money. I don't know, especially because he kind of lost a lot of his playing time to Clive Walford. But there's other guys out there that could come in and potentially be backup guys like Jacob Tammy. I'm looking at Gavin Escobar from the Cowboys, Clay Harbor on the Lions, formerly of with the Dolphins. I don't really think they don't need to bring in a big name guy, a guy like Martellus Bennett or Jordan Cameron, Jared Cook, guys like that. But I mean, anytime you can get a talented player, might if you can get a chance, if there's a chance you can get him, you might as well go get him. So, and then the offensive line, one of the best all season long. So there's not a whole lot of need to address it. Like I said, unless you want to get some insurance guys, maybe some a backup here or there. That'd be great. Who knows whoever might leave in a free agency or anything like that. But yeah, that's it for the offense. And then on the defense, like I said, just quickly again, so some insurance on the D line. Maybe they're really young right now. Guys like Stacey McGee, Dan Williams, Mario Edwards are all like first, second, third year, barely third year players. And any kind of like veteran leadership, to come off the bench to rotate in and out kind of stuff. That's always great to have. I mean, there's a lot of big names out there right now especially for D line. But anytime, like I said, anytime you can get some extra bodies, extra big bodies, that can bring some experience and knowledge to help mentor and show younger guys that how to play a game the right way and better and stuff like that. Like I said, you got to go after that kind of stuff. Even a guy like Nick Fairley, who has his demons, I guess you could say, but he's still a talented player and still very effective. Just guys like that, And then I was thinking maybe inside linebacker, not 100% sure again because I would have said go after it. Because they had Malcolm Smith, and Malcolm Smith can't do it all himself. And then they went out and got Perry Riley Jr. From Washington, and I mean he really, really, really emerged as a true inside between the tackles kind of linebacker. Really helped things out. Helped out Malcolm Smith. So again, before the season, I would have said, yeah, we need to go get a guy, maybe a guy like Dante Hightower or something like that can just play within the tackles, and also do a little bit of drop back coverage and stuff, every now and then. But like I said, at any chance you have of getting a top level guy like that, go for it. But at the same time, it's not an initial point of need. But like I said, if you can find someone that's got good cats, a good contract, you can negotiate with him or something like that. By all means, go for it. But the main thing that I feel that the Raiders need to address is their issue at cornerback. Now I know they have guys like David Emerson was pretty good, and Sean Smith had his moments of being good, but he definitely got burned on some plays that really kind of affected it, and it seemed like it was times where it's like, damn, why do we give this guy this contract, or why blah 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 and that. But I mean, he was for every I guess the plays that he gave a lot of big plays, and that kind of people remember those big plays you give up. But I mean, he's still a good corner. TJ carried up and down just as much as Sean Smith was. But like I said, anytime you can get get some stability in the secondary is what you need. Because you just can't keep giving up those big plays. There's guys out there like Stephon Gilmore from the Bills, even with the Rams. Even though they franchised Tremaine Johnson, apparently they're out shopping him. I don't know who would give him, who would want to pay him the rest of that money. But then there's a bunch of other guys out there. Like I'm looking at the list right now, and listen to all these top names. Like I said, Stephon Gilmore. There's Logan Ryan, Morris Claiborne, Prince Mukamara, Dre Kirkpatrick. Sam Shields, Terrence, like all these some big names out there who, you know, anyone can come swipe these guys up, and hopefully it's the Raiders, and like I'll get to it a little bit more later. Hopefully the Rams too. The secondary, mainly the corner position, was the weakest point of the defense. If you want to say the safeties underperformed, like Reggie Nelson and Carl Joseph, the top pick. Nate Allen was hurt for most of the season, but came back. If you want to say that they were the part of the weak part as well, I hear you. I'm not as concerned about the safeties. Like I said, they have some pretty good depth, but once again, I'll keep saying it. If you got a chance of coming out and getting a top name guy, by all means, go ahead. Do what you got to do to get them. But yeah, like I said, with the Raiders, they had a best season they've had in more than a decade last season, and they have the momentum. Derek Carr can hurt the momentum a lot, but that'll make them even that much more hungrier, knowing that they can do it. And anytime a team has momentum like the way that they had, you just really don't want to kill it by changing up any chemistry or anything like that. So like I said, just maybe a lot of mainly insurance things for the Raiders, but like I said, I'm fine with where they're at right now. But like I said, any help we can get, we'll definitely take it. All right, and now for the Rams. They definitely got some work to do. They're essentially starting over, clean sweep, changing the coaching staff. Brought in Sean McVay, as you all know. So initially, my thought with bringing in Sean McVay and Wade Phillips from Denver as their defensive coordinator, is these guys can potentially attract, mainly like a guy like Wade Phillips. He can attract bigger names, especially guys that used to play for him, whether it was in Denver or in Dallas, and just other guys that play from anywhere along the way. Both on offense and defense, not just defense. But they can attract, some of former players, maybe some other key free agents who, hey, I've always wanted to play for a guy like that, or anything like that. So that's always a start. On offense, so starting with the quarterback, I personally think that if the Rams didn't take Goff, that this offseason, Kirk Cousins would have followed Sean McVay. I mean, he played pretty well. Even though he got franchise tagged this offseason, that, like I said, you're seeing with Jermaine Johnson and some other guys, just because you got franchise tagged doesn't mean you're going to stay with the team. They're still going to try to shop you around. Washington might do that with Kirk Cousins. I've said this in other podcasts, I feel he can, even though the Rams took Goff number 1 overall, he definitely didn't show, that he's ready, and he definitely needed a lot more grooming. And I think if he sits behind a guy and sees a guy like Kirk Cousins, who I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers or anything, but he's shown that he can he can hang as an NFL quarterback for the last few seasons now. And for Jared Goff to see a guy like Kirk Cousins and shadow a guy like Kirk Cousins, as opposed to, no offense, a guy like Case Keenum, that can do wonders for him. Especially when he can see a true quarterback head coach dynamic, and just follow that and potentially build that with Sean McVay. Of course, there's always a chance that Kirk Cousins could go and follow Shanahan up to the Niners, which is I think from what I'm seeing, that might be what's going on. And speaking of, I'll get to it later because I want to finish quarterback. Sorry, but if they can't get a guy like if they can't get Kirk Cousins, who I think would be the perfect guy to bring in, they'd have to go out and get a veteran backup who can, who's been there, done that, and can show, Goff the ropes. I mentioned them earlier. I was saying a guy like Matt Barkley or Mark Sanchez. They've been through the ringer. They've been top picks or high draft picks, and didn't pan out. And so he can they can use their their stories and their careers to show Goff, hey, this is where I made the mistake. Don't do that, or just stuff like that. Um, you know, Other quarterbacks that are available. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of other guys. I mean, I think even Case Keenum is available after this, but there's like Kellen Moore. Like, would you want to bring him in? Maybe Josh McCown. I mean, just as a backup, here. Um, like I said, you just look at these names, and there's not too many guys, who are just extending out. Maybe Landry Jones. He almost set the world on fire, but he held his own for about as best as he could in the absence of Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. But you just got to find someone who can, definitely who Jared Goff can learn from. That's the main thing, because you want to get him some experience and as much help as he can get, because he really, really needs it, especially after what we saw from him last season. And then with running back, I'm not saying that they need to go out and get, a guy like AP or Jamal Charles or, a big name guy like that, especially with such a young, arguably top, if you want to say top 3, go ahead, but I'm saying top 5 running back in the league in Todd Gurley. But he really needs some help. He can't do it all. And part of it is a really poor offensive line, which I will get to, later. But just if he can get some insurance, that'd be great, especially for him, because he is definitely carrying the load. And it's very frustrating when a guy as talented as Gurley is, is only averaging, like, I think he only averaged like 2 or 3 yards last season, something crazy. It was very, very bad. And he's still working on catching the ball, and so he really couldn't be a kind of safety valve type of receiver, like that could help, that could bail Goff out, to help Goff out. And so I was thinking, they could, if they could, I think they should really go after a guy like James Starks. He's going to be a free agent. We've seen him, be able to run the ball effectively, but he's really, really helped bail Aaron Rodgers out in Green Bay a lot by catching the ball on those, those quick swing routes, or like those delayed routes and delayed outs and stuff like that, where it's just dump it and just go. And he's a guy that I think can be really effective and in both a traditional running sense and, like I said, as a safety valve for Goff to dump off to when he needs to. And there's a lot of other guys. Also, I think they should re-sign Benny Cunningham. He was the most effective out of in my opinion, out of the backups to Todd Gurley, and so you could keep some continuity there. But even going after a guy like receiving guys. I mean, I know Dexter McCluster has kind of fallen off, but like I said, he's just one of those catch the ball kind of guy, safety valves, just get him the ball and let him make a play kind of thing. Even Danny Woodhead maybe. But I also see that D'Angelo Williams is a free agent, and so D'Angelo Williams is such a great pro. He's been there, done that. I'm pretty sure the Steelers are going to find a way to re-sign him, but if they can't, I think that they should definitely try to go out and get him. He's a great team player. He played behind a great running back in Le'Veon Bell, arguably the best running back in the NFL right now, and he can definitely, he's shown that he can, he's willing to come off the bench at the, to help better the team, as well as help better a young up-and-coming running back, and he can definitely be a mentor to him. So, those are the two guys that I think they should go after in James Starks and D'Angelo Williams to help, take the load off of Gurley and, allow him to be a little bit more effective than he was last year. All right, now coming up are the first of the two major needs that they need to address. Wide receivers. And this counts as, I'm counting tight end, throwing tight ends in there too. They really need to get some receivers that can literally do anything for him, for Goff. I mean, last year, watching them just run poor routes, drop passes, not be able to get open. It was sad. It was really, really sad. And you felt bad for Goff because it wasn't all his fault. I mean, yeah, he didn't play as well as, he was hyped up to be and stuff, especially being the number one overall pick. But it wasn't all just him. He made some great throws, you know, great read, made the right read, looked off safeties and threw a guy open, stuff like that, that you'd expect to see from a number one pick, and just flat out receivers dropped it, or they cheesed up when the safety come in, or whatever. It wasn't just his fault, and a lot of it was these receivers. Kenny Britt is a physical specimen. Everyone knows that, but he was one of the biggest culprits. I mean, this guy is an absolute beast, like about 6'4", 220, 210, something like that. Just rock solid muscle and just a freak athlete, but could not catch the ball to save his life last year. I mean, he did make some great plays, but I mean, if he just didn't make all the plays that he needed to make. He could be a free agent. They might just let him walk. And if they do, they would definitely need, a number one guy to replace him. And I think that guy can be Alshon Jeffrey. He's going to be a free agent. He's the top receiver I know. And it's going to be a tough draw to get him there, especially considering, new coach, new system, new this, everything. And the Rams sucked last year and this and that. I get it. But if they can get a guy like Alshon Jeffrey, or specifically Alshon Jeffrey, to be their number one go-to guy. He came off, he was injured, I believe, 2 seasons ago, and had the typical, first year back from injury kind of season, playing himself back into shape, getting familiarized with his body, making sure everything's okay. And I think that he can come in and be that guy, and make some great plays to help bail out, Jared Goff. And if they can't get a guy like him, there's other guys out here that I have written down that Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, he's getting up there in age, but Deshaun Jackson speed at almost 30, I'll take that over anyone else on this that on the Rams have. He can be that deep threat, and it's just one of those things where just you have to know where he is on the field at all times. Like I said, he could be maybe a notch, a little bit slower than he has been, but he's still pretty damn fast, and you have to watch out for him because anytime he gets the ball in his hands, he can make you pay. Whether it's a quick catch and go, or he just burns you on a double move over the top, and then that's it. No one's catching him. And so those are the bigger name guys that I think they should attempt to go after. And if they can't get them, you want guys who are more possession kind of receivers, that have sure hands, guys like, look at the guys like Robert Woods, maybe even Kendall Wright. I have down here even a guy like Butler from the Cowboys. The biggest thing was the drop passes, because drop passes are so deflating for a team, because everyone does everything the right way, especially with Goff. Like I said, he makes the right read, throws the guy open, and it's right there, and they just drop it, and that's the most deflating thing, especially for a young quarterback. So you need guys with sure hands, and I think Robert Woods is a very underrated receiver in the league. He played in Buffalo with not the best quarterback situation or the best offensive situation, and so I don't think he was able to fully achieve his potential, because he has potential to be a really, really good receiver. Maybe not great like, OBJ or Julio or, guys like that, but he has potential to be really, really, really good. And, like I said, you just need sure-handed guys. Even though he got let go because of his injuries, Victor Cruz is out there too. I'm pretty sure he's still out there right now. I don't know if anyone's picked it up yet. But, you just need guys, like I said, I'm trying to drive it home, because you just need guys who can catch the ball and can just make the plays that, the normal plays that need to be made to help, keep Jared Goff's confidence up and keep the teams and the offense's confidence up. And, continuing on that note of, need guys to catch the ball, possession tight ends, if they can't get a big named receiver per se, wide receiver, like Alshon Jeffrey or Deshaun Jackson or whomever like that, they should really, really try to go and get Martellus Bennett. He's just that guy that he showed what he can do, receiving, when he played before he got to the Patriots, when he was with the Cowboys and the Bears, he showed his receiving ability. But when he got to the Patriots, everyone knew he could catch, and he was going to be the second option after Gronk. But he really, really showed and impressed a lot of people with his ability to block, because you always knew him as this receiving tight end, in the mold of like Vernon Davis and guys like that. But his ability to block his ability that he showed, and his willingness to want to block and help with the run game really, really, really impressed a lot of people. And so that's definitely an attractive thing, especially with a guy like Gurley that you have back there. You're gonna need all the bodies you can to help him get some extra yards. So I'm saying try to get Martellus Bennett. If they can't get Martellus Bennett, try to find a sure-handed guy, a guy like Luke Wilson from Seattle, Jared Cook on the Packers, maybe even Jacob Tammy from the Falcons. Also, I said him too, or Jordan Cameron from the Dolphins. You just want these guys who can just the traditional safety valve for Jared Goff. Because like I said, he really didn't have it last year. I know I was saying that the receivers dropped a lot of balls, and that includes the tight ends. Lance Kendricks, who I really, really liked, just a couple times in the red zone and the goal line, he dropped a couple touchdown passes, dropped some first downs and stuff like that. So, like I said, they just need guys who are sure-handed and just reliable safety valves that can just help build Jared Goff's confidence. All right, and now the second biggest issue that they need to address, in my opinion, is the offensive line. Now, I'm going to go ahead and preface all my, quote-unquote analysis of all this stuff with saying this. I'm not, as much as I love offensive line play, and I love watching, offensive and defensive line play down in the trenches, I'm not the biggest guy on the names. I don't really see, I'm not like a Robert Mays type. So big old Robert Mays. I'm not like that where, I know every single offensive lineman and where he went to school and what he did this and this and that about them. But I do know that the Rams need to fix their offensive line. They were just absolutely atrocious in both the run and the pass. You'd hate to waste a talent like Todd Gurley because you wouldn't address your offensive line. And so when I say this, going into this, I'm going to say, I'm just going I'm on Sporting News right now, and I went through their top offensive linemen free agents right now. And so, like I said, I know the big name guys, guys like I'm looking right here, guys like TJ Lang is available from the Packers. Try and go get him. Andrew Whitworth, I know those kind of guys, and Evan Mathis and Sebastian Fulmer. Those guys are getting a little bit up there in age. I know that. DJ Fluker too. Nick Mangold, these guys are. I know these guys from their names, and I know that they're getting older, which is why they've been not re-signed, and they let them walk as a free agent. I get that, but any change can help. Who knows? How many countless times have we seen players have a resurgence in the second half of their career, the back half of their career? So like I said, just anything can help. Go out and get a smart center like Nick Mangold, who can be the leader on that line in the middle, and it spreads out from there. Go get him. And then, maybe a guy like Russell Okung will follow, or, a guy like Matt Khalil or Volmer or, DJ Fluker or anyone else. Maybe not that full. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that they're going to sign all five. They're going to completely sign, five free, two top tackles, two top guards, and a center. They're not going to be able to sign all five of those guys, especially if they're spending money. But, if they can get guys on that level to come in and, just be able to let Gurley get a few yards of carry and give Jared Goff a few seconds to throw the ball. That's all they need. It doesn't matter who you are. They don't need 5 Larry Allens out there. They don't need 5 freaking, Alan Fanekas out there. That's not what I'm saying. Or 5 Orlando Pace. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is they just need to rehash that line to the point where they can just, protect their star players. And, it is what it is. And if the if the Rams want to be relevant in LA, their stars need to be the center of attention. And in order for that to happen, they need to stay protected. And in order for that to happen, you need to have a good offensive line. So, like I said, I hope they really address it. I know that they already didn't get off on a good note with spending money, franchising Tremaine Johnson and then trying to shop him now. After paying, I think, like, what would you have given Tremaine Johnson? Was it 13 or 16 million, something like that? I know I wouldn't have. No offense to Tremaine Johnson, but it is what it is, man. And like I said, please, Rams, for the sake of LA, for the sake of you guys, go out and spend money where you need to spend it, at receivers and on that offensive line. Please. LA's begging you. Please. All right, now moving on to the defense, who is if there is a strong point on the Rams, it's their defense. Somewhat. Like I said, somewhat. They've been known, beforehand as their defense was, what held them down and kept them in games and stuff. And especially with Wade Phillips coming into the picture, like I said earlier, that's definitely going to help them, attract some big names. Guys would want to play for a guy like Wade Phillips, or a coach like Wade Phillips, who has a winning pedigree, has won Super Bowls with defense, and, can really get the most out of his players. So, I'm looking through, and their D-line is their strength. Everyone knows that, with with Aaron Donald, William Hayes, Eugene Sims, and those guys really holding it down in the trenches. They do their job, especially Aaron Donald. These guys are trying their best to get to the quarterback, plug the holes, force things outside to get the linebackers and safeties and corners, make the tackles. So I'm not saying they should go out and get a guy, a big name guy like Mario Williams or Jason Pierre-Paul or, those kind of guys. But anyways, like I said earlier, I keep saying, if you got a chance to get a big name guy, or a big name guy wants to come play for Wade Phillips or the Rams, you got to do what you got to do and try to get them, I know it was I know Charles Johnson, I just see he just re-signed, but then again, the franchise tagging, there's a guy like Juan Short. You already have Aaron Donald, but if you can bring in a guy like that to just where that you're solid in the middle, by all means, try and go for it. You know what I mean? So like I said, I think they're okay on the D-line. Like I said, if you can get some insurance guys for some depth, that'd be great too. But similarly to the Raiders, their linebacking situation, it's not the best. It's good, but it's not the best, and Alec Ogletree needs help. A little bit more so than, Malcolm Smith needed help when he got it with Perry Riley. So, like I mentioned, if you can get a guy inside like Dante Hightower, like I said, by all means, go after him and try to get him, and then pair him up with Alec Ogletree. You can. It might be a problem like whose defense would it be then? And I get it, but it's Alec Ogletree's defense right now, but that's a good problem to have. If you can't figure out if your two inside linebackers are so good you can't figure it out. I'm looking through here right now. There's some other good names in here. Guys like like Justin Durant from the Cowboys, Akeem Dent from the Texans, Bruce Carter on the Jets, Stephen Tulloch. He's getting up there in age, but he's still good. And Lawrence Timmons is I'm pretty sure the Steelers are going to bring back Lawrence Timmons. But if they don't, try to go get guys like that. Just try to go get guys like that. They need all the help they can get, like I said, especially with that offense. If they can't fix that offense, they got to be able to give them a break and keep that score down. So, like I said, it can start inside with the linebackers, but the biggest need for them is that it needs to come from outside, and they need to get secondary help. I know they signed Mark Barron. T.J. McDonald is a free agent, and I hope they bring him back. He has a lot of potential to be good. But I know, like I said, and I know they franchised Tremaine Johnson, but they're actively shopping him. They just need help. Their corners, they're not bad. You look at their depth chart, LaMarcus Joyner and Tremaine Johnson. That's they should be good, but for whatever reason they weren't as good as people thought they would be last year. I mean, that's usually how it is. Everyone has high expectations, but you know, if they can get all, like I said, there's plenty of guys out there that they can get, and with a defensive coach like Wade Phillips that can attract, that can really attract some top name guys. That can really attract some top name guys like um, Sam Shield and Terrence Newman and Stephon Gilmore, Morris Claiborne. They can bring in these guys that would want to play for, like I said, a great coach like Wade Phillips. I mean, I get it. Wade Phillips is getting up there in age, and I know if you're, I sound like and I am a lot more high on the fact that Wade Phillips is in LA than most people might be, but you know, would you rather play for a coach that hasn't won anything or for a coach that's proven he can win and knows what he's doing? So, I feel at least it's a lot more important than people were giving it credit for. I think he can be a guy to change the culture, to help change the culture in LA, both with his winning ways and just based on the fact that he can attract certain free agents that they might not have been able to get before. And I hope that's the case again, for the Rams' sake, for LA's sake, that they go out and they spend money the right way, and really address their needs to help make the Rams relevant, and not just in LA but in the NFL as a whole. For the sake of LA, for the sake of the team, for the sake of the NFL, for the sake of if football can get popping in LA, watch out. LA, anytime sports are good in LA, it's always a good thing. And like I said, I'm just going to hammer home one last time. Please, Rams, spend money where it needs to be spent. Fix the secondary, fix the receiving core, and fix the line, please. LA fans are begging you, please. All right, so that's it. Those are the guys who I think that the Raiders and Rams should go after in this free agency. It's already off to a pretty good start. Some guys are going. A lot of talks here and there. It'll be interesting. It'll really be interesting to see what happens. I'm hoping it's interesting in a good way and not in a disappointing way for both the Raiders and the Rams. But like I said, we'll have to see. And who do you think the Raiders and the Rams should go after? Let me know in the comments down below, or hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, and all the ads down below. Hit me up, and we can discuss it and stuff like that. And like always, if you like what you heard, go ahead and subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. And like I said, it just seems like football season's over just yesterday, and we're already talking about it. And the draft's coming up too. Combine just finished. Free agency's in full effect. The draft's coming up. It's NFL's really turned into a 12-month sport. Gotta love it. So like always, again, thanks for watching, however you're watching. Thanks for listening, however you're listening. And make sure to keep tuning in, sharing the love, spreading the love. Thank you. And like always, catch you guys in the next one. Peace.